Okay, well, thanks for the introduction. It's very interesting. I wasn't aware that this was like surrounding like emotional intelligence, all of this. I'll try to add some vibe to my presentation as well on that matter a little bit. But I will mostly be talking about, do you see my screen is the first question, I guess, everyone.
I do.
Okay, good. All right. So my name is Jakub Staszak of Immod Innovations, and today I would primarily like to talk about a new release of a book called Ovosan, which brings stories of 20 cancer survivors, four physicians or oncologists of these patients as well, three scientists, and a supplement. Okay, now a few words about the author of the book, which is Dr. Eva Pokorna, who's a molecular biologist in cancer research. And what happened to her is that she was diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer, while she was pregnant. Now she was obviously standing, in front of some really hard choices and decisions that she had to make. She decided to save her baby, undergo chemotherapy despite all the risks that were part of it. And it turned out good. I mean, she saved the baby, it was successful delivery. And she is convinced to this day that this was thanks to the supplement called Ovosan and that allowed her not only to beat cancer, but also save her baby that was born unharmed. Today, I think he's in college, he's a college student, very healthy and all that. So it's great. This is why she has dedicated her career, the rest of her career, to promoting this supplement and researching it as well. And this is why me and Chris Johnson, who is on this call as well, have translated this book in English. And besides of that, we have also been working on the supplement at McAvert Pharmaceuticals that was focused on development of drugs. And we have, while researching this supplement, Ovosan, we have discovered an activator of natural killer cells of the immune system, which is pretty remarkable. It's not common for random molecules to activate NK cells. It's pretty specific, and it explains all those amazing results that Eva and others have experienced with this supplement as well. And that's why we decided to bring it to United States for other people to benefit, and we rebranded the product into CellBB. Now, a few more words about the book, Ovosan. It summarizes the story of the supplement itself, how it came about, what it is, what it does, some research surrounding it. Then there's 20 cases of survivors of cancer that have taken Ovosan while being on chemotherapy, right? That's important to stress. This is a complementary treatment that is being used with, the standard treatment that is given to you by an oncologist. And on top of that, you take Ovosan or CellBB, and that makes you feel better, and the chances of some good outcome are improved that way. All this is complemented by perspectives of physicians or oncologists that comment on what they think about the stories of these survivors and what they think of Ovosan or the supplement complementary treatment. Okay, now I guess the stories itself speak for themselves the best. So these are just few highlights. There's obviously a lot more in the book. So I'll just walk you through, the most interesting ones, I guess, although there is others and it's hard to pick, obviously. There was a mom of Katrina who was convinced that her daughter, who was diagnosed with brain cancer at the age of 11, survived thanks to the supplement, obviously while being on chemo. Another case is that there was a guy who was convinced that he was able to beat this pancreatic cancer thanks to this supplement as well. Again, one highlight of those four physicians, one of them or all of them are convinced that they definitely the supplement helps tremendously and especially improves, the tolerability of the chemotherapy treatment, and the people just feel better, are able to take more rounds of chemo, and so on. So it's very, very positive in general. But, read the book. There's a lot more in that. Now, more about the Ovosan. I'll try to be very brief. And CellBB, of course, that's the brand name in the United States. And why do doctors recommend this supplement? It's, I think, the most notable, and especially when it comes to the support of the cancer patients, I would say it's the cell regeneration. Because the chemotherapy just destroys your health greatly. And this supplement, these phospholipids, are exactly what those cellular membranes need to heal themselves after this tremendous impact of the chemo. And as a result, obviously, it's minimizing the side effects of the chemotherapy that the chemotherapy has on your body. And on top of that, it boosts the immune system, which is very important because that's what the chemotherapy actually kills, right? So it helps to reestablish that, also boost that, right? In general, and this is part of the discovery that we have made together with Chris at Makavert, is that the activation of the NK cells, this explains one of the features of this supplement, in the sense that it actually balances immunity. It's not just a typical booster. It somehow modulates the immunity, so it can make it stronger in some way. So it can help you to sort of fend off some infections and stuff, but it can also suppress the immunity from some and prevent it from some unwanted reactions like autoimmune problems and so on. As a result, I think this is a direct result of the immunity boosting properties. It's the anti-inflammatory properties, and some positive effects on cardiovascular and brain health as well, right? So this is all effect of phospholipids that is known. What makes CellBB unique is that you have all of this combined together in one pill. Again, very briefly, some highlights of what we have seen in the clinical studies that we have run with this supplement. It's always been used as a complementary treatment with chemo. So you have standard treatment, and on top of that, you take this supplement. People generally feel better. That's the number one, I would say, benefit. But in some studies, they were limited. It was a small number of patients, but we have seen average extension of the average survival time, which is remarkable, especially in some types of cancer like pancreatic, which doesn't give you usually much of a survival time left. So if you have extension of, if you can double that time, which was the case in our case, it's pretty remarkable. Then, of course, we are continuing doing some more work in this regard, and to map and to make sure that we know how we can best help the patients. Now, this is just a brief overview of the CellBB and why I do think that this is a supplement like no other. It's a combination of things, really. It's number one is the liposomal delivery. Without that, none of this would have worked. This is a perfect package of the phospholipids that are in small particles that then help you to get the right ingredients through your gut into your system and to the cells where they can help intact. If you don't do that, the right molecules cannot really get, the digestive system will destroy them on the way. And it would do nothing. So that's number one. because you get the right molecules where they are needed, near the cells, where they can repair or help repairing the membranes. Obviously, the cellular regeneration is the number two thing that has the biggest impact. And of course, then the activation or modulation of the immune system through the natural killer cells activation. And if you combine all this together, you have a pretty unique supplement that can help, by the way, also, everyone else, not just cancer patients. This is just a highlight where you could see the benefits the most, because those are people that have, their health like severely damaged by chemotherapy. You just need it, right? Because you want to beat the cancer. And the idea is that you beat the cancer faster than you kill yourself with that treatment. Now, this supplement helps you to stay on top of that, above the water so you don't drown. That's very important to say. But it can help anyone else. So, if you're aging, if you have any other problems, this can help you because it will help with the regeneration of the cells. It would make you healthier. It would make your immune system stronger and balanced, right? If you boost immune system too much in some way, it can do some harm too. So it's important to keep it in balance. And lastly, I wanted to highlight, one of the studies that we have been discussing with Chris, and we're writing some article about that, is that it is known that the phospholipids levels in your brains as you age decrease, right? They go down. And it was also discovered that if you just focus on specific group of people, centenarians, people that live longer than 100 years, it was discovered that these phospholipids somehow stay high. They don't go down, right? So there's a group of people that somehow, for whatever reason, they can maintain these phospholipids very high, and that's probably they don't age that quickly. So there you go. If you have a way how to keep the phospholipids high as centenarians, perhaps then you can also live that long. So anyway, I would like to end here. Thank you very much for your attention. Don't forget to download the book. It's free. You can read it. It's an interesting read. And of course, as a courtesy of Brightside, you can get some extra discount if you go to our store and buy the supplement. This 25% right here. So just make a copy of this or download it from Elizabeth. Um, uh, Thank you very much for your attention. Chris, do you have anything to add? I mean, I wanted to hand it over to you because perhaps I've missed some important points here. I don't know. What do you think?
Can you stop
Yeah.
sharing?
Hmm?
Stop sharing, Jacob.
Yeah, we'll stop sharing. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Chris, over to you.
Yeah. Well, I think Jacob did a good job of kind of presenting the basis of the book and the supplement overall, which was the Ovosan was the name in Europe for the last 25, 30 years. And then we brought that to the US as CellBB. But I try and just figure out how do we tie into the emotional intelligence that Elton spoke of. And that's not really like what we weren't really aware that that was going to be the tie-in. But you know, if you don't have your health, all the emotional intelligence in the world isn't going to help you. Or that's, you know, that's one of the things we learn is that we need to take care of our health and our brains. And I mean, you think about when you're going through a battle with something like cancer or autoimmune disease or something like that. I mean, yeah, that's where your emotions are, you know, play havoc with you. And just knowing there's things out there that can help you in those moments and bring back your health, bring back your mental clarity. You know, some of the things Jacob didn't mention is that when you look at brain health, like you said in the centenarians, that these liposomes deliver these phospholipids to your brain cells specifically. We immediately, within 24 hours, I start to see the chemistry in the brain change. And you can see where these things have been incorporated. And actually, yeah, it does promote healthier cells. It can promote regeneration of certain neural types in there. So all those things are really important. And yeah, this is some of the things we learn on this day of, because I think your topic was the digital age and emotional intelligence. So As we are able to look up more and more things, a lot of times we just get confused because there's so many different things out there. But ones that really work, I think, are worth going after. And this is a case where there's a lot of good science backing it up. So that's what I have.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great and valid ad, Chris. I appreciate you both being on to discuss some of the unique solutions that are being encasing our world today. I mean, as a matter of fact, the comprehensive analysis that you've just presented was quite fascinating in that this solution has gotten great result. And I'm just understanding that it was a drug that was a treatment that was in Europe, and now it's come to America, and the great prospects for what it means and what it could do for people suffering from cancer today. So amazing time. And you know, if there were one perception that we could evaluate regarding this, and please at this time I encourage anybody who does have questions to engage and ask questions regarding this, but the directions for what solutions or what responses this drug could offer, I'm excited for you. It's just what steps to take now, and who are the patients that have a great demand, and those that you know, I mean, living in America is an amazing proposition in terms of treatment. What treatment prospects are there? And whenever someone engages to offer, you know, a treatment, let's see where we can go with it. Jacob, you have comments?
Yeah, I wanted to comment on it. Yeah, it's like the age of AI. You know, something came to my mind when Chris started to talk about it, and it is you know, when you look at there are communities in the world where people live somehow longer than in some other places, and obviously there has been some research about why that is. You know, what do these people you know, do differently than the rest of the world, and why do they live longer? And it comes to emotional intelligence in the end as well, because, you know, the differences are very subtle, you know, it's not anything marked, but I could name a few. And, you know, it is usually they live in communities where they talk to each other quite often. They exercise till they are very old. They usually have a garden, you know, in their backyard where they go every day to check on their crops and stuff like that. And then they go in front of their house and talk to the others. And, you know, and I think all of this contributes in the end. And then you have to ask yourself, how does this fit into this, you know, age of AI, you know, with the idea of a dude or a gal sitting in a couch and looking at a mobile phone, you know, and not doing anything else. You know, I don't think it's as consistent, you know, with this idea of longevity. So I would say, you know, getting out, having healthy diet, you know, some community of people that you can talk to, and yeah, and having some good supplements like ours, because if your mind goes away, you certainly won't be able, you know, to take care of your crops and good diet or anything else, and then it just goes, it's a downward spiral very, very soon if you don't have, you know, some extra help.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I mean, as we are, different cultures, of course, have different dynamics. But here in America, North America, I mean, I don't know, there is the perception of a balance. And today, and balance has enormous benefits. I mean, there's a power of what those benefits can be and achieve, you know, because I guess, you know, there's a computing mechanism called optimization. Your system will do an optimization. Means it's a counter balance, you know, peak performance, optimum conditions, the prospects for complete and total comprehension, as well as, and also in that there are elements of healing. When you reach a point of total optimization, that's the optimum state of mind. It's like a child growing up. I mean, a child who's just in an optimum state of purpose, being, understanding, and balance. And once you get there, man, this is headed down the road. We're headed down the road, at a breakneck speed, and until either you run out of gas or or some other complication faces our trip, that, and then where you only know that, okay, I got to stop and take a new optimization. Even the best performing vehicles, the best performing vehicles, and I don't know, I'm somewhat of a speed junkie. I like driving fast. I like driving fast. I mean, because when you're on a byway or highway, and you set the cruise control, when you're hit the point where, man, we're cruising. You put the cruise control on, and I'm just waiting for the destination, waiting for the destination. So physically, optimization means that, okay, how do I get my state of mind, my body, mind, and spirit, headed in the same direction? And I just believe that, and like, for instance, we know when things aren't going well and right, and we make adjustments to fix them and alter them. Please, Jacob.
Yeah, I think Maureen has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Maureen. I didn't see.
That's okay.
Please, Maureen.
I'm really enjoying hearing how you cure cancer with something really tragic to the body, and yet give them the supplement to overcome that, because you do damage the body through chemo. And I know that we're here talking about emotional intelligence. So when I consider emotional intelligence, I consider it to be part of the body, not only the mind, because the body, we are treating, as physicians, you are treating the body. So what emotions are the body's holding on to, during the treatment, even when you get the diagnosis and before. So what's happening within the energies of emotions within our bodies? And how can one utilize that emotional intelligence or emotional energy to overcome, get well? I mean, we've heard of people dying from a broken heart. That's based all in emotions. And many other things have been researched to do directly with emotions and the energies in our bodies. And emotional intelligence is complex. It can be many, many, many different things. So how does a physician approach that? What does it look at when it comes to treating patients? Because inevitably, the physician and the patient all have emotions when it comes to diagnosing and treatment.
Oh, thank you very much for the comment. Yes, I agree a lot. This is what what I was trying to say as well, with the longevity and having the community of people. And I think if you go through something difficult, like, let's say, diagnosis of cancer, fighting with cancer, any other disease like that, having someone to talk to, someone to rely on, is very, very important. Because what's the point of keep on fighting if you don't have anyone, if you have nobody to live for, and nobody cares about you? It's very, very, very important to have that community. And that comes down to emotions, of course, because that's what it is. That's, in the end, that's all that matters, is there is somebody who is interested in me, and I am important, and I'm being seen, and that's why you keep fighting. So yeah, so thanks.
Well, even
Thank you very much,
establishing a
Maureen.
feeling language, something I was never taught was that feeling language in the ability to be able to articulate what you're feeling, how you're feeling. I know my husband went through triple bypass surgery last summer, and of course there's a multitude of complications, and became anemic. And I saw that. I felt that he was really struggling. And the two words he shared with me was beat up and defeated. Well, actually, I shared that with him because I could just feel it from him. And as soon as I acknowledged those words and what his feelings, he looked at me and he says, that's exactly what I'm feeling. And I said, okay, medical healthcare has treated you physically. They've helped you to live again. So now let's work together on those emotions. Let's change those thoughts of defeated
Mhm.
and beat up. Let's change the thoughts to health and thriving and surviving. And, you know, he totally 360 came out of it doing extremely well, has chosen a better lifestyle in eating and exercise. So again, you know, if we, even though someone to talk to is great, talking to someone that doesn't understand EI or emotions isn't going to benefit, in my opinion.
Yes.
However, what about our thoughts? Our thoughts can trigger us, our thoughts can overwhelm us, and our thoughts can create pain and disease in our bodies just by continually bombarding us. Because, you know, 95% of them are negative and 85% of them are on repeat, which is rather scary. So, you know, how does one overcome those thoughts and really connect to the body and how it's affecting the body? So just my out of the box
Okay.
thoughts.
Those are great
No,
comments.
this is a great comment, yeah, and I could not agree more. But so to your husband, you were the lighthouse, right? You were
Mm.
the reason why he decided, okay, there is someone for me, and I have to be there. I have to be this. I will do this, right? And that probably prompted the the recovery. It helped
Well,
tremendously.
that may be it. However, I also believe that acknowledging how he was feeling, giving him those words
Yes.
to know that I also understood, someone else understood him, giving him those words, the ability to say, yeah, that's it. And just acknowledging how he was feeling in that moment in time gave him the ability to go, someone truly understands me. And now
Yes.
move forward to create that. So I'm an emotional intelligence practitioner, and I work with my clients in medical intuition,
Mm-hmm.
where I inadvertently feel their pain in my body and guide them towards the emotions that they've held and stuffed in their connective tissue and energy system. So it is it's amazing as I work with each client because everybody has a different, you know, DNA and RNA and emotional experiences and traumas, and each one is different. So just allowing them to finally understand what's going on and then releasing those and saying, well, I don't need to hold on to this any longer. So yeah, I know I've gone through a lot physical trauma. I mean, I had a bowel perforation 27 years ago and I did die, and the doctor said I had 24 hours to live, and yet here I am. I survived and I came through because of my own emotional intelligence and learning how to understand my body and the beliefs and the thoughts and the emotions that I was holding on to. So, yeah. And you know, it's something I never shared with healthcare professionals because I did have a near-death experience. I've never shared that with them. And that opened a corridor for me to see that healing happens on many different levels. And medical healthcare is one of them. Thank goodness you're there.
Perfect. Yeah. But don't you think that it is also like about connection? So if you can connect with somebody else who can see and understand your problems,
Oh,
also kind of help
absolutely.
understanding yourself, but also that there is somebody and
Definitely. We need a community around us, you know, and I love when you spoke about, you know, being older and having a garden. You know, we are seniors, my husband and I, and we have a garden. We love our yard. You know, he's out there every day tilling that soil. So it gives you a purpose to do, and we do it together, you know.
yes.
So absolutely, we need a community. However, everybody has their issues and their problems. Everybody does. So we need a community that can be supportive, yet they also need to be supported, if that makes sense, you know, a reciprocal kind of a relationship. And because everybody has experienced their own stuff, to put it mildly, you know, when you go to that community, you want to ensure that it's there for the right purpose and the right reason, and that it is truly supportive and you benefit and they benefit. It needs to be reciprocal.
Yeah, no, that's a very good comment. And I guess one of the I wouldn't I don't want to say issues, but so I like America. I like United States a lot, and it's
And I'm
great
not from the United States.
either, but I
We're
live
not gonna
here.
hold that against you. It's okay.
Yep.
It's okay.
But no, so I wanted to say it's a very diverse country, right? And sometimes it is hard to find those communities because there's so many people that are very different, right? Sometimes you're just looking for someone who's alike, who can understand you, and it's just harder around here. So it's great benefit, but it's harder at the same time because to build those communities surrounding you because everyone is so different, so far off, oftentimes.
And they are, and we have not been, taught that it's safe to express how we feel. I appreciate someone brought up the generation of like from the war. That someone brought up that term. Did you say that? The generation, the older generation? My dad is still alive. My dad's 100 years old. And he is from the World War II. And because he's physically he's amazing. His heart is amazing. Probably better than my husband's. Anyway, long story short, because he was a war vet, he has experienced heightened awareness and is re-experiencing the trauma that he had as a war vet, as World War II. He actually physically sees things, and I go in and I calm him down, and I bring in, whether or not you support essential oils, another way to calm down. I mean, those are essences from nature. That is nature in a bottle, basically. And I bring that in and I, support him and help him through that trauma. The body keeps a score. His body certainly has done that. And then I work with the staff and then the other people within the facility. And by the time I leave, everybody's calm and things are going a little better than they were when I first came in 3 hours early. Although it's emotionally and physically exhausting on me when I go with him and through that with him and be with him on his journey, I guess one could call it, his walking through that. The unfortunate thing when people came back from the war back in the 1940s, they were told to forget what they saw and don't talk about it. How many people still carry that belief? And how detrimental is that to their physical body in recovering from cancers, from other conditions, from other diseases? And I appreciate when you say, how do we find others in our community to do that? Most of us have not been given the tools or techniques to do that. And it is not, in my opinion, it is not the priority of what we know as medical health care to help us overcome the emotions of going through the trauma of dealing with a chronic disease.
Yes, absolutely. I do agree. Yes.
Well,
I mean, they're trying to.
But each
But
of
it's
us have gone through our own set of circumstances, traumatic issues, challenges, but here we are. And we have the capacity and opportunity to impact people in our communities. And the smiling face can go a long way. I mean, you can have the worst day in the world, but you come home and your child or daughter or son is laughing and smiling. All of a sudden, you forget about everything and everybody. And so it's a responsibility that we all have, that we have to do more with less, with the people that we care about, even those people that we've never met before. So, and we live in a time that demands that we play a bigger role. And so what does that mean exactly? And how can we impact the future today, tomorrow, in a way that gets and makes us all better? And I'm just excited about it. I mean, and even when you think about a product like Ovosan, and how it can make a difference for people who are really in the suffering states and transform their lives. And it's like a baseball baseball game. I don't know, as a child, I remember playing the game, and I would get excited every time I would get and step to bat. When you go out to the outfield, that's work. But when you got to the batting cage and you have your chance to swing and to hit and there's this one chance that you could knock it out the park. To knock it out the park, man. I mean, even if I miss, I'm gonna swing. I'm really gonna swing, and I'm gonna swing like I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit it. And life is about that. I mean, we get our shot. And let's do what we can for each of the people that are around us and the people that we can help and engage and then develop and cultivate their lives. So, and I'm encouraging, the people, even on this broadcast, let us see what we can do to make a difference for tomorrow. I mean, and life is a gift, and it keeps on giving because we're in it, and it's the present. What they call life is a present. It's a gift, So I mean, and when it's when our time is over, it's over. But until then, let's swing, man. Let's swing. Let's swing.
So I'm curious when you say, Jacob, they're trying, and I love that they're trying. That's so important that they're trying. My daughter's in healthcare. She's a respiratory therapist and an educator in Kelowna, BC. So she highly stressful job in the middle of the hospital, all of that, and went through the pandemic. And as parents, we were very concerned. And I mean, you can appreciate and understand what she experienced and went through along with her colleagues. So I appreciate that they're trying. I guess the question is how can I see that? Where can I be part of that? How can we bring this together and create a true healthcare system? Because I see it as a sick care system, because I don't go to my doctor when I'm healthy. That's not what my doctor's there for. I go to my doctor when I'm sick. So how can we be proactive rather than reactive and create a system where we can remain healthy and, yes, deal with whatever issues come forward, physically, medically, when need be. So I would just love to be part of that movement. Truly, I'm very much a change maker.
Yeah, thank you. That's great.
Yeah.
But it's hard, because it's so diverse. Everyone is so different. I cannot even imagine what would need to be done to really change it. I think, I mean, those things that, the trying that I was talking about was more, it's, let's say you go through some difficult health problem, and then at least the local hospital, which is here, it's the Anschutz. This is where people go with any kind of problem like cancer, from surrounding states even, so it's really good. And so they have programs. Once you get treated, then people will start reaching to you. These are like former survivors of cancer or whatever disease you had, so that kind of support helps, is there, and they will call you, and they even offer to meet with you and so on. But it's like you said, it's after you had that problem, right? It still helps in cancer, because
Yes,
once you get cancer and you survive it, I mean, it can come back, right? It's more likely actually to come back. So it helps in that sense. But before that, before you actually have that problem, yeah, that's not much, I think. You have to somehow.
And I'm not necessarily looking at changing, I'm looking at incorporating. How can we incorporate that into the system? And I know there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot just doing the research and taking care of people once they've been diagnosed, and their treatments and the after. So yeah, just looking at a better way of living in life.
Yeah, let's presuppose, and I encourage you, and I'd like for your comments, because we just have a few minutes left. I'd like for your comments to be based on this. How would you, if you're in, how would you like for your doctor to engage with you that they're not doing? I mean, would you like them to be more, because doctors get into a routine also. And, I have a doctor, then he's a good guy. It's a great guy, actually. And he looked at my case and he said, okay. And he's always been, okay, we can do this, this, or this, yeah. And so, and then we also can do nothing. But I say, if we do this, this, or this, then let's say while we're doing this, you've given yourself a fighting chance And I need your attitude to be in order. Your attitude to be in order, as if to say that you will succeed, we will get victory, and you'll move on so that you'll never see me again. You'll never see me again. And so, you know, hey, that works for me.
And that's beautiful. It's interesting you would talk about the doctor. I know my doctor asked me one day, he said, how did you go from surviving through all this to thriving? And I shared with him, this is what I do, this is who I am. And he said, all my patients need to know what you do so that they can go from basically surviving to thriving. So he saw it in me before I even told him what I had done for me.
That's very good. So any other comments based on that? Because we just have a few more minutes, and we're really appreciative of you being with us today. And your new drug, Ovosan, wow, I'm excited for it.
It's a book.
Well, the book, no,
Yes.
it's not, I'm sorry. That's the book, okay. The book is called Ovosan. The drug is
Yeah, the supplement is CellBB.
CellBB.
We
Okay,
rebranded
CellBB,
that, right?
okay.
But
Okay.
hey,
Well-
Chris, did you have any comments like on what we discussed about the community? I mean, you're like, I know that you have a big family, right? So the community-wise, it's good for you, right? You worked on that hard, and I don't know, what is your perspective?
I have a huge family, but you know, sometimes family isn't all that good. It's not always the best community. Sometimes it can be a little on the toxic side, but overall it's good. But yeah, I think what Maureen was saying about how medicine sort of just wants to treat your symptoms at the late stage. They're not really interested in preventing stuff. And, you know, that seems to be a much less of the focus. And I think that's where we have to take some responsibility, some ownership for our health. And, you know, forming those communities, having friends that are going to notice stuff. Hey, that's that weird stuff coming out of the back of your head there. It's like, maybe you ought to pay attention. That helps. And, you know, taking advantage of the certain supplements that are out there and, yeah, tests you can do, you know, that they're generally not going to offer you. But we all know now that there's plenty of these things that are starting the process that leads to that disease, whether it's cardiovascular disease, cancer, often that's starting a decade or two earlier than those symptoms appear. And so, you know, we have to kind of be invested in making those changes that are going to bring about that health. And you know, that's kind of one of the things we thought, you know, Jacob and I, when we were looking at, you know, we had done the medical research on that supplement Ovosan, trying to form a cancer drug out of it. But then we're just like, that was a giant hurdle that we were really struggling to get over to raise the billions of dollars necessary to do that. But we're like, at the same time, it's like, let's just bring that supplement over, rebrand it as CellBB, bring it to the US so people can take advantage of that and you know, in fact, make that investment in your health and make those changes, because there's only so many tools out there that we can hit that really, really work. And you want to, you know, take advantage of those. Yeah.
It's wonderful to hear there's a supplement. I'd love to learn more about it and how it does affect the body's, you know, healing. It'd be wonderful for more. And that's fabulous. Yay, a supplement, not a treatment or a toxic treatment, a supplement that helps heal the body. That's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, read the book. That's
will
everything
explain.
about it is there, and you know, obviously you can always reach out to us as well. We
Okay.
love to talk about it
Mhm.
anytime.
I'm sorry, I was unable to attend until just now. Can you tell me what that book was so I can make a note, because it sounds fascinating?
Oh, we'll send you a copy. Everybody who's attending is getting a
It's free.
copy.
You can just download it.
Yeah,
Oh, great.
we'll send everyone a copy, and we want you to download it and integrate and talk about it. So yes,
Great.
welcome, Scott. So excited
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Thank you,
Yes.
Elizabeth.
All
Okay.
right, we
All
need to
right.
wrap this up.
Yes, and thank you all for being with
And
us.
Chris and Jacob will be here tomorrow as well. So if those of you who have more questions or want the book, y'all can come back. All right, go ahead.
All right. Thank you all for being with
Okay,
us.
thank you guys.
And we hope that something was said or done that gives you more inspiration to our preview and objectives. Please stand by. We have another broadcast coming up, and we'd like for you to be on and participate. What an amazing forum. What an amazing forum. We had the chance to talk and to share and to disclose and to also talk about our disappointments. And it's good to be able to air our disappointments sometimes. So it's a lovely day, Saturday. And
Friday.
well, today's Friday. I'm already at the new week. I'm already a day ahead.
You're ready.
So fast.
Yeah, thank you
Amazing.
so much. We really,
Okay.
really appreciate you.
Bye, guys.
Have a good day now.
Uh,
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks. You too. Bye.